So, should you, and if you should, when should you quit your job and go into real estate full time? This is a question that I get a lot, and I believe it's because that's exactly what I did. And I'm going to tell you my story in a minute after I answer the question. But the way I'm going to answer this question is really rooted in some foundational financial principles and financial rules that I now operate off of. And the short answer to the question is, well, you should when you can afford it. And when you can afford it is going to be different for each person. Here's, however, how I would answer the question when it's anchored into the current financial rules that I am seeking to abide by. Rule number one is I want to have 12 months, especially in a commission job. I want to have 12 months in reserves. Now, in addition to reserves, and reserves are, I take my monthly living expenses, I extrapolate it 12 months, and that's the sum that I want to have in an account that I don't touch. It's out of sight, out of mind. It is there for reserve purposes. But in addition to reserves, I like to have at least 1, maybe even 2 months of additional funds as an emergency fund for things that come up. Car breaks down, something happens in the house, whatever it is. I don't want to really push into my reserve fund for that. Now, I know that that's probably a little bit more cash than some of my other friends would have, but I also have had a life where I just haven't made a whole lot of income as a pastor. So I probably am going to feel a little safer having a little bit more cash on hand. I would recommend 12 months. If you can't do 12, I would do at least 6. That's in your reserve fund. Plus you have an additional emergency fund for things that come up. Now you have enough of a hedge that if winter comes, which it will, you can survive the winter and then you can make it to spring. How much that is, it's all going to be dependent on your particular needs. And the second thing you want to do, in addition to making sure that you have a hedge or a moat around your castle, so to speak, is you want to ensure that you have enough income coming in from real estate that you know you can replace your current income. And if you've just started and you've made it a side hustle, which is what I did for 2.5 years, and now the theory goes, if you do it full time and you're making equal to what you were or close to it, or you can at least project that you will make that or more, then it can be a really good time to make a jump. And then you may want to factor in market timing, but you always have market cycles. I think if you focus on partnering with the right person, I do really believe that who you partner with and who you team up with is more important than what you do, because who you learn from is more important than what you learn. And if who you learn from is somebody that can really condense your time frames and can really accelerate what would normally would have taken you 10 years and you can learn it in 10 months, then you're really going to benefit tremendously by really paying your way to learn so that you can eventually earn a more sizable income because of who you learned it from and how quickly you learned it. That's really why I chose to partner with a team. I chose to apprentice myself for 2.5 years. That was my story. I was a full-time pastor, and for 2.5 years, I essentially did it part-time. I rode 2 horses, like I like to say, and it was brutal. It was tough. It was really, really tough, and it was a ton of work. And all the credit goes to my wife and my kids because they had to see less of me. And what I did was, after my day of pastoring was over, I did real estate in the evenings, and then I did real estate in the weekends, and it was grueling, man. I'm just straight up, it was tough. It was really, really, really tough, but it was worth it. And what I did for the first year and 3 quarters is I just apprenticed myself with my business partner. I was his assistant. I shadowed him. I went on every appointment I could. I helped him with every deal. I saw things. I saw the good and the bad and everything in between. And then only once I did that did I go in and start servicing clients, because I had to be able to look at myself in the mirror and say, that person can trust me because I can deliver a desired outcome and I can be the leader to help this person get where they're wanting to go. And then that's what I did. And the next, half a year, I did maybe 7 transactions, and then I jumped into real estate full time. Now, full transparency, I didn't have 6 to 12 months. I had about 3 months and a little bit more of savings. And so I had to really get spun up fast, and I'm grateful that I did. And we're in a really good place right now, a little more than 2.5 years in. But the short answer is, should you do it? Or if you should, when should you do it? Do it when you can afford it, but I would make sure that you're anchoring yourself to wise financial rules and principles. One of them being at least have 6 to 12. I'd prefer 12 months, especially in a commission role, that you have 4 reserves and have some additional emergency funding. And then you just want to be very, very careful with any debt. I don't want to have any debt that's not strategic debt. And what I mean by strategic debt is debt that actually puts money into my pocket as opposed to just takes money out. If it's strategic and will put money into your pocket, then I think that debt can be good debt as opposed to bad debt. But that would be my answer of whether or not you should get into real estate and quit your full-time job and do something and get into real estate full-time. You got to be able to afford it, and you got to be able to weather the storm if it comes. Hey folks, if you like that video, you might want to check out this one right here. And if you're looking for a daily letter where the best and most accurate news is curated daily so you don't have to do it, that could affect you or your clients financially, things like real estate, taxation, crypto, and more, you can subscribe to the daily letter right here, right on Substack. I'll see you in the next video.